water. We're talking about the wolves. That is really what comes up often here because it's such an everyday change to lifestyle. If they take our water, that is a very severe effect on everybody and on your livelihood. The cost of living in California is insane. We have over-regulated. You have to remember there's 400,000 regulations in the state of California. The next closest state is New York, and that has half the amount of regulations. The national average, we're 3 times the national average. So any any other state will have about 130,000 regulations. But we pass thousands and thousands of bills every single year, and every one bill that's passed is hundreds of regulations that goes along with that. So yes, you can't use your water, but you also can't, the 85 other things that are around that all affect your business, that all affect your family, that all affect your legacy, and that's a huge issue. So while in Siskiyou County, obviously with the dam removal, water's a huge issue, with them constantly pulling back and not allowing allocations, that is a big issue, and that's livelihood. That's not just, I can't water my lawn. Those are crops, and obviously when we have the land fallowing, that's a big deal. So I would say those are the biggest issues in Siskiyou, but up and down the state, just over-regulation. The state telling you what you need to be doing, telling you how you need to do it, when you need to do it, it just doesn't end. So, anybody that sat back and said, not my problem, that's just not true anymore. Because there's nowhere to go where there isn't a problem that the state of California hasn't created, and then would like you to give them more of your money so they can fix it with more government, and that's just not the answer.
Thank you, Jennifer. That's all? That's it? For those of you that would like to ask her questions or meet her personally, you're welcome to do that after the event is over. She's going to hang around a little bit, and you can talk to her yourselves. Okay, thank you. Okay, next up is the candidates for the Siskiyou County Board of Supervisors in District 1. Colleen Preben Alvarez was invited, but Colleen was unable to make it. Her candidate statement and any information she has about her would be on the back table. We also have with us tonight Jess Harris. Jess, you've got 5 minutes.
Thanks for being here tonight. My name is Jess Harris. I'm running for Siskiyou Supervisor in District 1, which is pretty much the entire east side of the county. It's a very large district. I'm a local guy, born right here in Yreka, the little hospital. Worked blue collar the majority of my life. Worked for the county road department for 6 years. So I understand the structure inside the county and the issues that are faced there. For the last 2.5 years, I've worked for California Rifle and Pistol Association as the Northern California Programs Representative, working with my friends and colleagues down in Sacramento that are lobbyists and legislative directors. I've worked with chapters, board of supervisors, city councils, sheriff's departments all through the North State, so I have an extensive network. I'm on the Siskiyou County Fish and Game Commission, which I'm very aware of the natural resources and wildlife management issues that we have in the county. Trying to think of what else I'm on. Been pretty busy lately. I am heavily involved in my kids. I have 4 kids. My wife is amazing. That's why I'm able to do what I'm doing. My kids go to local schools. They're participants in 4-H. Some of the issues, I guess that's probably why you guys are here tonight. So some of the biggest issues that I see in the county, one is state and federal overreach, typically pertaining to our natural resources, pertaining to water. Obviously dams are a huge issue, or what used to be dams. That's something that I think we're gonna have to face and deal with probably through the rest of my lifetime, through the repercussions of those actions. We're gonna fight the state. I mean, it's gonna be a fight. They wanna regulate us. We don't wanna be regulated, and they're not gonna quit. We're gonna have to get to a point where we're not dependent on the state. Right now, as a county, we're heavily grant dependent. That puts us in a bad spot because that means that they can leverage money over us, and we have to bend the knee. I'm sure you guys have seen that with school districts and stuff through the state when they start talking about, oh, we're gonna fine you $1.5 million. They start hurting the pocketbook. Well, when they've deprived us of utilizing our natural resources in this county, they've cut our pocketbook. So we don't have that ability to tell them, we'll keep your money because we can't survive without it. You know, wildlife management or lack thereof, you know, we have wolves eating everybody's stuff on the east side of the county right now. They're running out of funding to even make those people whole, so that's an issue. Illegal marijuana is a huge issue, especially in District 1. You know, I'm on the Siskiyou County Sheriff's Posse, so I've been in those groves. I've seen that stuff firsthand, working for the road department. I was out there doing demolition work. You know, I've seen the horrors and the bad stuff that happen out there, and if most people actually knew what was going on out there versus what they read on Facebook, they would want to do something about this, and we're not getting state and federal help like we should. We have to come up with more creative ideas to combat it all over the county. You know, there's little bits of it everywhere, but it's, you know, there's a couple places that it's kind of congregated and, you know, it's polluting the water. There's no wildlife left out there because they've all been poached. You're seeing, you know, animal abuse, things like that. We have a lot of problems. All through this campaign, I've been campaigning for a little over a year now, and people like to ask me, well, you know, what's your platform? And it's like, where do you want me to start? Like, you have a full day to talk about it because there's a lot. At the county level, we can't keep employees. Employee retention is awful, you know, and it keeps getting pointed out like, oh, well, it's wages. It's not wages. It's atmosphere and culture in the county. I know that because I've worked in there. I have that experience. I have that perspective. And I have ideas on how to fix that. You know, I look forward to working on that as we get going, because how can we work, you know, well as a county if we don't even have the position staff? You know, our sheriff's department is depleted. Anybody tried to get permits lately? Like, their staff is depleted. I mean, those people are hardworking people. You know, you can't pick on them, but we have to figure out a way to get these people, more people hired. We need to figure out how to get our young people, you know, into some of these jobs and retain them, not hire them. They last 5 years and then leave. We have to figure out how to keep those people working in our county and keep things moving forward. Right now, I feel like we've been kind of stuck in this position of just trying to stay afloat, and that's not working for us. As any of you guys can see, it's just simply not working. We have to start picking a direction and moving forward if we're going to succeed as a county.
Thank you, Jess. If you hear a ding or see a couple people waving a yellow and red plate, this evening we do have timers in the audience. Jess, there's a card here, it has your name on it. Jess, we see we are living in a time of overreaching government regulations and influence. Okay. You have already demonstrated your ability and your chops by writing to the water board on these issues regarding the overreaching of our water rights. If you were a supervisor, what move do you think the board of supervisors can do?
So one thing that I know I've talked to Ray Hawk about that I would really like to see is, to begin, I would really like to see Siskiyou become a charter county. Now that's not a fix-all, but that allows you to take a little bit of the power back. I would start there. I would encourage the rest of the supervisors and the county to lead this fight. The supervisors are elected by you guys as leadership roles, not just decision makers, but leadership roles. And so I believe that the supervisors need to lead the charge in fighting back against these agencies, and they're not even elected agencies. You know, they're appointed, and so a lot of their authority is very questionable, and I feel like we need to pursue that. We can't just continue to allow them to run roughshod over us. Look what they did with the dams. We voted against it, the supervisors went against it, and they just bulldozed their way through it anyways. So it's gonna take getting everyone working together, and it takes that leadership. Because when you're just making decisions, you're not pulling everybody with you, not moving everyone in the same direction. And I feel like that's something that we're missing at a lot of levels is we need people to lead and to listen to the people that put them in those seats.
Thank you, Jess.
Thank you, guys.
Next up is the Fort Jones City Council. The Republican Central Committee purpose is to get strong conservative Republicans elected. This evening we have Alexander Riviere. He is a candidate from the Fort Jones City Council, and he's going to speak to us for a few minutes.
I'm Alexander LaRiviere. I'm currently on the city council, so I'm an incumbent, and I'm running for the office of city council. I've been in Fort Jones for about 11 years, and it's a real small community, and I was hoping to make a positive difference, and I think that the city council that's there now has been making a very positive difference. Our main focus is taking care of the water and the sewer, and basically trying to get all of the old audits done and just taking care of old past business from the last 6 years. Anyway, thank you very much for inviting me here, and also for your support as far as in getting the word out for people to vote. And so I'm going to cut this short and let the people from Yreka use the time. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we wanted to make a point to expose as many people as we can to being in front of an audience. And that's why we asked him over here. He was the only one that showed up. Other people were busy. So I thought it was very nice of him to show up for the city of Fort Jones. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, the next up, we have the Yreka Elementary School Board. Olivia Dedman and Corey Hines, please come up. Okay, where are you? Just one person showed up? Zane Wiley, too. Okay. Now give him a hand, folks. Okay, find a seat. And what we're going to do, you have a mic up there. We're going to give you 3 minutes each to introduce yourself. I haven't met you, I think I said hi to you. But, so, these are people you don't know. Introduce yourself to them and tell them why you're running, please. And then we'll ask questions. Olivia, you're first.
My name is Olivia Denman. I grew up in South Siskiyou County. My husband and I bought a house up here about 5 years ago when I was working for the county jail. I no longer work there. I'm fortunate enough to be a stay-at-home mother now. I'm very concerned about the education rates of children. They can't read, they can't write. And if our kids can't read and write, then we don't have a successful community. Who's gonna run school boards? Who's gonna be in our city council? If people can't read and they don't know how to write, they can't do basic math. That means they can't do budgets for anything. And so I think education is extremely important. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Corey Hines, and I am a local. I was born and raised in Siskiyou County. I left for a short period of time to experience life, and then my husband and I relocated here because this is where we wanted to raise our children. This is where we were raised, and so we're back. I've been here back for 13 years. One really nice thing is that we both have businesses. My husband owns his own business here in the county, in the city of Yreka. I am very fortunate to have a position with the county of Siskiyou. I started in their auditor's office and worked there for 4 years before promoting to a position in our personnel office county administration building. The part that I love about my job is that I'm able to support the families and the communities that are serving our community, and that's huge to me. I got involved with the school board. I've always volunteered going into the classrooms and sports, different outings like that, but my interest was more piqued. Last year, we had some really big items that came up, and I decided I needed to be there. I needed to hear for myself what was going on. Part of the reason why I really want to run for this is because I want to look at the financial health of our school. We were not in a great place. We're slowly crawling out of that place, hopefully, but it was a scary time. And I think it's really important that we have people on the board who understand not only the Brown Act, but also finance, and that are here for the long haul. Both my kids attend these schools and will be attending these schools. And I want my children to have growth and opportunity within our community, just like I had. And so that is why I'm running. Thank you so much.
Okay, Zane, you're up next.
Hello, my name is Zane Wiley. I'm running for the elementary school board because I think children are our futures of our society. And they are very important, and there's a lot of laws coming out of the federal government and Sacramento that want to control your child. I try to keep things very simple. God gave you those children. And I think that you should, as much as possible, make the decisions how those children are to be educated and raised. And I know there's laws that come out of Sacramento, but we have to do the best we can to raise our children and protect them. And I don't know, that sort of covers that idea of what I think about your children. It's basically to protect them from cultures that are not in their best interest. I'm a native Oregonian. I moved to the Bay Area when I married a lady from California. And then we had 4 children, one of which is now in heaven. And I worked for the state of California for like 28 years, Caltrans. I did various jobs with them. I'm Christian, and it's like I retired, and I think that I have something to contribute. And so I just didn't want to sit around and do nothing. So I decided what is important in our society, and it's our children. And so I thought I would run for that position. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I don't know, you're going to have to tell me how many positions are open on the school board. 3 positions, and you're 3 right there. Does that tell you something, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, well, we have some questions here, and one I'm going to kind of add on the front of this before I ask it. I looked this up. I looked in the California Penal Code, and I looked up the definition of a minor. The definition of a minor in the California Penal Code is anybody under the age of 18. And then as you go on, it talks about all kinds of stuff that I don't like. But then it got to who's in charge of the minors. And it specifically states parent, or legal guardian. These are the people that signs the permission slip for a child or a young adult to have an operation, to go on a trip somewhere with school, to be on the football team, the basketball team, cheerleaders, you name it, the parents have to sign and fill out a form. Today in our school system, you hear all across the nation about stuff being taken away from the parents. I want to be assured that you will fight that, because it's just getting ridiculous out there when the school system is not even telling the parents. I know parents that have left the school system here in Siskiyou County. This one here says, the question is, do you support parents' rights? And regarding vaccinations, gender, instead of saying, I don't know, them do, I don't know what they come up with now, but it's just getting ridiculous. And somewhere somebody needs to stand up and say, we've had enough.
First up is Olivia.
Okay, Olivia, you're first.
I definitely believe parents are in charge. I think that forcing vaccines, bringing gender into schools is the most absurd thing I've ever heard of. Why are we not teaching basic information? If we don't teach our kids facts, they can't critically think later on. If you're worried about your gender, we're just confusing them all. Pushing mask mandates, school closures, any of that, that is ridiculous. That's a detriment to our children. Everybody knows it. It's a parent's right for vaccines. If you don't think you should have one, don't have it. It's none of my business, and it's not the school's job to tell you what to do with your children. And so if I get elected, I'm absolutely a voice for parents. I have my own son. I don't want him vaccinated. I'm not going to do it if the state tells me, then he's not going to go to school. If they want to do gender, I'm not going to send him to those schools because he doesn't need that in his life. He needs actual fact-based information so he can become a critical thinker, so that way we don't have this later on. Thank you.
So I myself am a big parent advocate. Part of being a parent advocate is I'm involved. I make sure I'm involved in my child's classroom. I volunteer in my child's classroom. I volunteer with the youth here locally. It's because being a parent and having my rights for my child, I do not want my child exposed to something or being forced into something. I can share a personal experience. I know someone who was working for the schools who was forced to receive a vaccine. I saw that vaccine critically change their life, and all of a sudden health issues came about. I do not want that for our children. I feel like people deserve the right to choose, but for our children, I'm going to make that choice for my child. And I feel like I would definitely be a voice on the board for the parents' rights.
Well, as I said, I try to keep things simple. And basically, a lot of these mandates and laws that come out of Sacramento or the federal government is all about control, and it's all about changing the mindset of our children. They know that once they control them, they control society. And where they want to take society is no place that's American. It's not. It's nothing that your forefathers or our founding fathers would endorse. I'm against any kind of controls or laws that pervert the minds of our children. And so I will do everything I can to protect them. And I swear.
Okay, thank you. Now I have another question.
And we're going to start with Carrie.
And we're going to start with Corey this time. Now, we all know about security at schools. There was just another shooting, and people were killed. It's getting very sad in today's life that it's not becoming common, but it just tears us apart every time we hear about this. And the question is, how do you feel about teachers being armed? Now, some schools, in some areas, the teachers are armed. Some schools have armed security guards. They have armed police officers. But this is specific about how do you feel about teachers being armed? Because the teachers are our last hope between them and some crazy guy or person with a gun. Corey, we'll start with you.
So previously I had worked for the schools as well. And during that time at the schools, I can tell you that we were on lockdown 1 year, 3 different times in a close amount of time. My biggest priority was policy and procedures. What I found is that we're really kind of detached because we grew up in this small community where everybody knows everybody, and we don't realize that some of these things are trickling in. And it can be a scary, scary time. As far as teachers being armed, I would want to see the policies and procedure on that. I would want to see what the school is going to come up with to protect our children. I can tell you, we probably have someone carrying in here right now, and nobody knows. But if something were to happen, I also would feel safe with that kind of situation. So again, as far as teachers being armed, I would really want to be on the board, and I would want to think about every strategy, every possibility to iron that out, because I want to know that our kids' safety is of the utmost importance. I love that they've locked down the schools and that they have to be checked in. I love that. When I go into Evergreen, I know that the door's locked and some random person's not going to come in. Could they jump a fence? Most definitely. They're continuing, and we've brought it up at board meetings, to come up with ideas to protect our children and to make sure that our children are in a safe environment. We recently had a situation where the school went on lockdown, and I believe in open communication with my child. We talked about it. We sat down and we talked about it. Okay, what happened today? Tell me about it. She tells me her thought process. At that point, she says, it was kind of scary because we just didn't know. And to me, that immediately tells me, what can I do to make sure my child is not scared at school? If that means arming our teachers and having a strict procedure, policy, background, all of it to keep our children safe, then that's what we need to do. But again, I would want to thoroughly evaluate that and make sure that we had a solid policy and procedure.
Okay, Zane?
All right, thank you. There's multiple things we could do to secure a school. But here's some fundamental things most people don't realize. After that shooting that took place in Texas on the border, I'm trying to think of the name of that school. Well, they had guards there, and the guards and then multiple police agencies showed up and didn't go in there. So you know what happened? The citizens of that school area, they sued those police departments. The police departments, the fought back, and they went all the way to the Supreme Court. Do you know what the Supreme Court said? The police officers do not have to protect you or your children. That's a major change. So one of those facets I'm talking about that needs to be changed is we need to make a law that if you're going to be there to protect our children, you have to do that job. If you're willing to take our money, you have to put your life on the line for those kids. And here's another aspect you can look at it. There are many people that are former military police, and there's lots of retired police officers. We could have them in our schools. And we have to have a plan on how to deal with intruders and where the soft points are and how to cover them. We just need to do a multifaceted approach at this, like the individuals that we're going to have protecting them, change the laws to where they have to protect them if they're going to take our money to do that. And that's what I'd like to see. Thank you.
I'll be a little bit less wordy about it. As long as somebody is trained properly with firearms, I believe that in most places where you know that people can carry, there's less violence. So if people know that teachers have guns, they're going to be less likely most of the time to come in and do something like that, bring a gun into school. And so I would say with proper training and proper rules, regulations on all of that, I'd absolutely be for that.
Okay. I think we have one last question here.
Yep.
Yeah. And this is kind of a good one too, I think. Would you be open for parents being able to review the books prior to use, checking out, or even in the classroom? Having maybe the parents come and sit in the classroom and see how everything's going. I think that's a good question. And you were last, so I think it's Corey this time, right? Because Zane, I'm sorry, Zane.
Yes, I would more than welcome parents coming into the school, reviewing how their children are being taught and what they're being taught. I think that's crucial to promoting a sense of our society and the idea of how we want those children's minds to be developed. Yes, I'm all in favor of parental involvement in these schools. I'm very, that's one of the key things in my mind. That's what I want. It's because God gave those parents, those kids, that's their responsibility. And in my mind, I try to keep things simple. It's my job to help that being done. Thank you.
I think that parents absolutely should be involved with the curriculum and books that are chosen. If you don't know what your kid's being taught or you don't have a say in that, look at where it's getting us. Kids are confused about their gender, which is the most ridiculous thing. But I mean, they can't read the books that they're giving them anyway, so they have obscene pictures in them. So parents should absolutely be involved. To say a parent can't come into a school, what are you doing that I can't come in? It's a public school, and you're teaching my child, so I should be able to ask any question without being shut down. I should be able to do whatever I'd like in that public school because my tax money goes to fund you to be able to teach my child. So if I'm paying for that, I should know exactly what's happening. And as should any parent that has a school or a child in public school.
So I am one of those parents who's very involved in their child's curriculum and volunteering in the schools because I want to see what's being taught to my child. I am a big advocate for going into that meet and greet before school starts where you meet with the teacher, and I want to see what curriculum are they going to be using? What are they going to be going over? I want to know what books they have. I want to know what information, what enrichment are we planning? I want to know that. I like to know the schedule. I like to know what they're going to be doing. I have conversations with my daughter every single day. She comes home from school, and that's the conversation. What happened today? Tell me something great about today. What happened? I believe that open communication with our children is huge. I feel being involved in the school is huge, and that's why I'm continuing to move forward with trying to be on the school board. I want to be more involved. Finding that I was looking at one of the meetings, we had curriculum on the agenda, and they were speaking about, okay, what are we looking at? We're going to have to upgrade our math. We're needing to upgrade our reading. These are the costs. Do we push it off and wait because of finance right now? And it was a big whoa, 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 whoa. If we push that off, then are we pushing the kids back? Like, we need to be staying up to date. We need to make sure that they are getting the best education they can. And it starts with the community. Us as a community, being involved in the school, being involved in your child's classroom, talking to your children. It's huge. So for myself, I'm a really big advocate for parent involvement in the classroom.
Thank you. Thank all three of you. Let's give them a big hand, folks. Remember, these are questions that you wanted us to ask.
We wish you the best of luck. We want to let you know that we have a trifle going out. All your names are in it with our recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you.
We now like the Yreka City Council candidates. Okay, first up, with a 3-minute introduction, or however you want to use your 3 minutes, is James Clare.
Hello, my name is James Clare. I'm going for city council, obviously. Well, it's the first time I've been on this stage since I was in high school, so it's a little awkward. Anyway, I've lived here pretty much my whole life. I moved away a little while to do some school stuff, but moved here when I was 7, 8 years old. law enforcement, currently work for the district attorney's office, been there for 4 or 5 years. Have a family here. I have a great wife and kids. Go to school here. I'm a football coach. Volunteer at the 8th graders. They're all at practice actually right now. So I'm sure it's not going well because I'm not there, but we'll figure that out tomorrow at the next practice. I've lived here for, like I said, my whole life pretty much. Looking forward to hopefully getting on the council and turn the town around. Not saying it's anything bad, but kind of get it going in a direction to get it back to the old ways as we did when we were growing up. I've lived here, like I said, for so long that I remember the cruise nights and all those things we used to really enjoy. And I want to focus on that and those kind of things in housing and business and stuff and just do what I can to improve the whole around. So thank you very much.
Thank you, James. Next up is Louise Gliotto.
Hold on.
Go over the top. It has to go over the top. Let's go over the top. That's about all you can. Take it over the top of it. Yeah, there we go. There you are, ma'am.
The meter's not running, is it? I get bonus points. Well, thank you all for coming tonight. I know it's a Wednesday night and a lot of people don't like to go out in the evening, but thank you for coming. I'm Louise Gliotto. I'm running for Yreka City Council. I've been a registered nurse for over 60 years. In 2007, I retired and moved to Yreka to be closer to family and to live in a small rural town because I was originally from Martinez, which was small but not so rural. I chose Yreka to be my forever home. In order to bloom where I was planted, I decided to get involved in community affairs and issues to keep my new community safe, maintain its wonderful rural culture, and to protect and improve its financial vitality. One of my goals, if I'm elected to City Council, is to encourage and inspire citizens to become more informed and more engaged in their city government. Far too many times when I've been to City Council meeting, sometimes I'm the only one in the audience, and sometimes there's just 3 or 4 members of the community there. And the best representative government is that which is closest to the people, and you really can't get any closer than City Council. City Councils are your last chance to have your voice heard. And if you don't speak, you can't be heard. I'm well aware of all the social and financial challenges that are facing Yreka because I attend the City Council meetings on a regular basis as well as the Board of Supervisors meetings. And I often get up and speak and make comments, especially if there's something that's going to be voted on. I don't hesitate to speak during public comment only after I've verified my facts before I speak. It's very important to me to have verification and be factual. I cannot or will not promise you that I can solve all our problems that we have now or problems in the future, but if you elect me, I will treat being on the City Council as a full-time job. I will listen to you, research the pros and cons, question and study the agenda before I go to the meeting, and speak out in opposition to support or oppose something that I feel is appropriate. I will never rubber stamp issues unless I've done my research. I'm an open book. All you have to do is go to the Yreka website. You can view it on there, and I've made lots of public comments, so it's on record. I have no hidden agenda. I have no aspirations for running Board of Supervisors or for the governmentship or any other political position. What you see is what you get. I would be honored to have your vote and for me to be your voice in the City Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Louise. And Timothy Pope.
Hi, my name's Tim Pope. Moved to Yreka in 1964, back when we still had some dirt streets, not a lot of sidewalks. It was a great place to grow up. You could walk around in the dark and never see the same person twice. I've got 21 years of military service, 27 years in law enforcement, and I just retired from the Yreka Fire Department with 21 years of service in that. Been married 44 years, have 3 great grandkids, 1 son, and we have 1 more left in school, and then I get to retire again. My goal for the city and the City Council is we need to pick up the slack from things that have been left behind. The little projects that get put aside and get put aside and get put aside end up becoming bigger projects. And as we all know, the longer you take to fix something, the more it costs the next time it comes out. We do have a homeless situation, but everything's in process for that, because I know everybody's going to say, what about the homeless stuff? But we're working on that to get that going, and it looks like a possibility. It's never going to go away. We just have to deal with it as it comes and do the best we can. My agenda for infrastructure is to continue with what we're doing on our roads. But when people come into town, what's the first thing they see? Dirty sidewalks, garbage on the road, curbs are jacked up. I worked for the city of Yreka for 13 years as a maintenance worker and a dog catcher. I worked for the county of Siskiyou for 23 years as an equipment service worker in charge of the fleet and purchasing and as a level 1 reserve. So I've been out there. A lot of your faces are very familiar. I thank you all for coming, and I hope that we can work together to make our community a better place.
Thank you, Tim. Jason?
I'm Jason Williams, born and raised in Yreka, well, born in Mount Shasta, raised in Yreka, graduated Yreka High School, left for 6 months, hated it, and came back and have been here ever since. I decided to run for city council because, like I said, growing up here, one of the things that drives me crazy is seeing just the downslide of our community. I can remember growing up as a kid, like James said, you know, the street vibration or the car cruise night, cruise night, and some of the things that are just have gone away. I'd like to see those brought back. Again, we also do have a homeless crisis that we're facing, and I realize that process is going to take a long time to get things going. I would like to help mitigate that and maybe speed things up a little bit faster. Maybe cutting some of the red tape that's been holding things up. And so that is why I decided to run for Yreka City Council.
Thank you. We have a stack of questions. We're going to start with James, and then we're going to go right down the table. We'll disperse with the alphabetical. We'll just go down the table and back. Okay, James, and all of you. This person has an opinion. Why do you want to promote tourism? I live here because I enjoy a small town. No tourists.
Well, I think there's a balance that has to come with that. And part of that is tourism. There's a level of tourism in our downtown areas that help it kind of thrive. And then there's tourism maybe in your neighborhoods, and that could probably get a little annoying. I could see that. But as far as what we need to do and what I'm working at and what I'd like to do is try to expand a little bit and have some tourism so we can get some revenue to help rebuild the city and get it in that direction we need to help with the infrastructure, to help with businesses. It'll help with housing. All these things with outside tourism will help promote financial gain for the city to an extent. I'm not saying to, make it a giant Las Vegas strip size thing or something crazy, but we can really take advantage of the beauty of Minor Street by enhancing that, our parks, things like that. We have a lot of things here that offer a lot that people aren't aware of. And what you want is people to get off the freeway to maybe get gas and look at this place and go, hey, I want to stop there sometime. I had a similar experience at a football game. I was coaching last year up in some place in Oregon. They had a potato fair. Forgive me, I don't know where it was. But the fact is, or the point is that they were doing this and it made me want to come back because they had activities going on, which is tourism. I do understand the wanting to keep Yreka the way it is, but there is a possibility of growth with the hometown, old town feel. There is a balance for everything.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that Yreka is a great place. It has a lot of rich history, and I think that should be shared with people. But there is a balance, and it does come down to revenue for the city. More people that come in, the more revenue we get. And that's, I think that's about it for me.
Well, we beat that horse. The thing about the tourism is it, like I said, it does bring in a little bit of tax dollars, and some of these people are looking for a new place to call their forever home. So if they come in and they see that there's, we have recreation, we used to have lakes, There's all kinds of little festivals. We have our farmers market. It gets people out and it gets them on their feet and they're walking around town and they're looking at what we have. And that'll also help bring up small business because, we are a little lacking on small business right now. We have a lot of vacant storefronts, things that need to be filled, and people to fill them. So that's not going to kill us. That will actually help us.
Well, I settled here 17 years ago, and actually it was my brother who talked me into moving here. He's in the audience tonight. And Yreka is a jewel, and I would like to share it with the rest of the world. I used to come here all the time because I love the antique shop in here. And I don't think that having a small amount of tourists is going to hurt Yreka. I think it would enhance Yreka. We need the revenue. I think we need to share all the wonderful things we have here in Yreka with other people. In particular, I'd like to see some tourism doing with cycling. My son came to visit me. He's a cyclist, and we have great cycling here, and we have good people who respect the cyclists on the road. So I think we could have tourism, but maybe the kind of tourism we have. But I think the physical, the sports, the hunting, the dams are gone, so not going to have the river. But we do have some things left, and Yreka is very, very quaint, and I just don't think the tourists would hurt our country at all, our city at all. Thank you.
Jason. Start with Jason.
James?
Jason.
Oh, Jason. I have a question here. It says, what leadership skills or relevant experience do you bring to the city council?
Good question. So I have been owner-operator of businesses in Siskiyou County since, like I said, I got back. My wife and I bought a carpet cleaning business in 1996 and ran that until 2004. We also owned Fergie's Quick Stop out in Grenada. And so I oversaw my employees in the day-to-day operations of running that business. I now sell real estate. And I think that being a leader is the most important thing is being a good example. And I pride myself in my integrity. And I think that being open and transparent about things that are going on and the difficulties that we face are important. And I think that's one of the strong points that I have as far as leadership.
I've always been one of those people that's a doer, not a leader. But in my military career, I started out at the bottom, E1. Left the Navy as a second-class petty officer. I was an engineer on a landing craft that was in Beirut in 82 and 83. Joined the National Guard, and the first thing they did is they threw me under the bus and said, you're not a commissioned officer, so you're in charge of the motor pool. Then they put me in charge of supplying the armory. And then they put me as a battalion motor sergeant. So the best thing you can do to be a good leader is to listen to your people, treat them with respect, help them do their job, and they will do your job for you.
Well, having been a nurse for over 60 years, early on in my career, I was given the opportunity and the task to start a cardiac rehab program at the hospital in which I worked. They'd never had a program there before. So in terms of leadership skills, I got that program going. I hired people. I ran the program for 14 years, and that program is still going in Mount Diablo Hospital in Concord, California. I have started the Patriots meeting here that we have. We started out as a Tea Party a long time ago, over 10 years ago. It was a group of 5 of us that started it, and the Tea Party group is still going, but we now call ourselves Patriots. We're the Siskiyou Patriots. So I feel that I've demonstrated that I can lead the leadership, I can work with people, I work with people across the aisle, and I agree with Tim that you need to listen to your people, and I think you need to respect people, and you need to find out where the people's skills are and where they shine, and let them do that work and let them shine. And you don't need to worry about what you're doing, but you need to worry about how everyone else that you're working with, and give them the opportunity to grow and to shine.
Thanks. Like I said before, perhaps my law enforcement history. My job has helped kind of with leadership for 15 years. I've worked for people. I've taught people a little lower than me. I've helped instruct classes, stuff like that. But more than that, I think leadership just as a whole and the importance of it, especially in the role of a city council person, is the ability to understand that you're not going to have all the answers and you have to ask for help. Sometimes that's from citizens, that's from everybody, because I for sure don't have all the answers and I'm not going to pretend to. I don't have any specific training in politics, which could be considered a weakness of some, but I will have the ability to listen to other people's ideas and take them into consideration. That is the citizen, other members of the board or the council and or people at the state level, depending on what these issues are that need to be handled.
Tim, are you willing to push back based on the citizens within the city who are affected by city plans or ordinances? And I would imagine that's in a negative way, who are affected by the city plans or ordinances.
So yeah, for the people?
Yeah.
Yes, I would, because we need to streamline a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of these mandates that we heard about from Mr. Harris that don't reflect us. We're a small community. We can't afford big city prices. And our housing growth right now is very slow, and we have plenty of room to grow. So permitting, they're working on permitting, they're streamlining that stuff to get it through. A lot of people are going to have to learn how to use electronic things to do this, but if I can learn it, anybody can learn it. It's hard to get things started because there's so much red tape for people to go through just to do something. And by the time you get to that point, you give up. People just quit. Developers, general public. Look how long it took to get Main Street fixed, and it's going to be done here in a couple of weeks. That's pretty darn good. So I just need all the people to realize that if you have a question and I'm on the council, I expect a phone call or a letter. I have no problem returning any of that.
I'm not sure the question or what they meant by pushback. Does that mean rubber stamping things, or is there some way that...
Louise, I think it means that are you willing to help a citizen who's negatively affected by the city plans or ordinances?
Oh, okay. Absolutely. One of the things I pride myself on is I think I'm a pretty good communicator. I use social media a lot. I use email. Since I'm retired, you can call me at any time. I will be giving out my personal phone number. We can emails. Actually, that's the best way that government works. That's the whole purpose of representative government, is that you need to hear from the people in the community. And if you come to a city council meeting and you just sit there, and when the city council looks out at the audience, they just see these stares. They don't know what's on your mind. And that's why my favorite model is if you don't speak, you can't be heard. So as citizens, you need to help the people on the city council and let them know what you're thinking and what you want, and then we'll do the rest from there. And I think if we have a good team on the city council, we can help people and help streamline some of these problems. Thank you.
I agree.
Yeah, I would, depending on the situation, I would look at the situation, listen to the citizens, and see what or the citizen and whoever it is, and see what the problem exactly is. Take a look at it, sit down, is there a way to fix the problem? Because what if the situation is something that has to happen, right? And we have to do something, but there's a way around things sometimes. There's ways of coming together as a group and figuring out problems. And the main thing is to listen to the community, listen to the citizens, because that's the big reason why we're doing this. That's a big reason for City Council, is to work together with the citizens to develop a better town. And if that means coming and having a hard talk about a situation and it's a yes or no in that situation, then it's going to be that. But it's definitely about getting everybody's opinion, getting everyone's understanding, and getting the whole of the situation. And going from there, if it depends on that, yes, I would make that decision. I'd have no problem doing that. Thank you.
This one.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I think one of the things about being in politics is having those uncomfortable conversations with people about things. And there does come a time, obviously, we were given 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we need to use them accordingly. I think listening is important, but yes, having that tough conversation regarding some of the issues that are coming up is definitely something that we're going to be faced with. So yes, I have no issue having those tough conversations with people.
The next one. Am I getting out?
There you go. Louise is first.
Louise, start.
I guess. No.
Okay, I'm back on. I was off for a second, but I'm on again. Homelessness. Have you been to the base camp for the homelessness?
Absolutely. In fact, I had a tour by, her name is Tara. If you've never met Tara, she's quite impressive in stature and just her ability. She's quite smart. They gave me a tour. They were absolutely gracious to me. It was about 2 weeks ago. When I went there 2 weeks ago, the floor was torn up. The plumbers had not come back. She said that she thought they were on fires, and so they didn't have toilets. They didn't have showers. It's very organized. The facility is lovely. They have raised gardens in the back. They have chickens. They have a wonderful chicken coop that looks like a little house. The chickens all have names. They have like a little patio area out there. They have lockers for people. They're very organized. They're waiting for their commercial kitchen because the public health department said if you're going to feed people, you have to have a commercial kitchen. So, and I've also visited, also besides having it's called Base Camp. And also there is 6 stones there. It's called 6 stones. It's another ability to help people. It's like the front of the building where people can come and spend the afternoon there. And then when they close, then the base camp opens up at 4 o'clock. They can come in from between 4 and 7. After 7, no one else can come in. Once they're accepted into the base camp, they're given a little, like a wristband with a number. And if they choose to leave the base camp, once they leave in the evening, they can't come back in again. They can bring their dogs with them. They have kennels for dogs. They have lockers. They have washing machines. The staff will actually wash the clothes for them. And the facility is very well decorated, beautiful furniture, leather furniture. They did a really good job, and I'm hoping that helps people kind of get into the halfway position in which they will gradually, what's the word I want to use, transition from being homeless to maybe getting some permanent housing. I hope it works. Thank you.
Fantastic.
I wish I could follow up with a good answer like hers, but I don't have one because no, I have not been there yet. I have scheduled other meetings with other people, and that is one of the things I have scheduled. I've had 3 meetings with the city manager regarding base camp and the pallet areas and the things they're planning on setting up. So I've been doing homework like that, but I have not actually physically been to the place yet.
I also have not been there, which is one of the reasons that I wanted to get involved in city council, because I want to know more in depth of what's going on. I feel sometimes like I've been sitting on the sidelines for too long, and it's possibly helped create some of the issues that we're having and facing right now. So I'd like to get involved to be more in tune and in touch with what's happening.
I also have not been to it. I remember when it was Scammell Electric. I have some city council people that I speak with on an occasional basis that give me an update. I've been dealing with some family issues, so that's been a priority now, but it's starting to settle down. I'm hoping to, as I attend more council meetings on my own time, and get somebody to take me for a tour. He's over there with his hat on. To go in and see this facility, because what Louise said is supposedly it's fantastic, and it's a good place to start.
Thank you. All right, James. Yreka is going to have or has a potential water problem due to the taking over by the KRC of Fall Creek. water used for a fish hatchery. What would you do to correct the problem?
I would meet with people in the city, the city manager, people that hold more knowledge than I do in this area. This kind of goes back to what I'd said earlier. I don't have a lot of knowledge in that area, but it's my job as a council member to not assume an answer and go find the correct one by finding the right people to talk to. I would talk to the city manager. During the meetings I have had with him, I am aware that there is alternate plans of improving Greenhorn into a possible extra water reserve for us from these meetings. I know there's plans to actually transition Hat Creek and try to get our own little setup up there from meetings we've had. But like I said, it would be my job as voted as a council person to go find you those answers and give you correct, concise answers, not something I would just have to make up. But that would be my best answer for that one.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's important to talk to the people that have the information and then doing your own research. But that's a difficult question. And it's way beyond what I could comprehend and answer at this moment. But there is definitely people out there that have the answers. And I think that talking with them, listening with them, and coming up with a common solution is the right answer with that.
That's a deep one. Well, let's see. I was here when Fall Creek came in as a kid. I remember drinking Greenhorn water. I remember having to take the diffuser off your sink and knocking the pollywogs and the tapeworms out of it so you could get more water. Their ability to take Fall Creek from us is a 50-50 chance. But they're only going to hurt themselves in the end. It's up to the council and the citizens to say, we have a right to that. It's part of our community. And that I hope to do with a lot more knowledge and a lot of insight and help from other people and the constituents, that we can work out a solution with the people that have the knowledge, the ability, and the math.
I agree with Tim. That's a hard one. And I was thinking about that as everyone was giving an answer. And I looked around, and there's going to be 5 people on that city council. You're not going to be the only one responsible for that. There's 5 people, and then there's the mayor, and then you have the city manager, and you have the public works department. So I don't think it's going to fall on any one city council member to solve that problem. I think we should all be aware of it. But we're a team. There are going to be 5 people and city manager. So I think that if somebody came to me and said we're having a water problem, I would hope that the mayor would call a special meeting and bring in all the people who are familiar with that, because that's something I'm not familiar with. I've never worked on a water project like that. The closest I've come to working on a water project is with the Water Users Association when I joined them and we were trying to save the Klamath Dam. So again, I would say it would be up to the whole council, the mayor, and all the different departments within the city to manage that problem.
You broke it.
Yeah.
Hello. I have to turn it on a couple of times to make it work. Okay, this covers crime and safety. As a personal note, more people are arming themselves today than there ever has been. And they're scared. They're worried about the crime, not in the big city, in Yreka, Mount Shasta, you name it. It's happening everywhere now. And you can't blame the people for arming themselves. They're just trying to protect themselves and their family and everybody. And the question is, with the rise in crime, what are your concerns? What would you do to bring safety back to the citizens of Yreka? That's important because, like I said, we hear it every day. I see it every day on Facebook. People walk right into people's yards and right into their homes and just take stuff. And people are tired of it. Okay, I believe it's James. Jason.
Yeah. So that's a great question. And I think we need to hire more police officers for Yreka. I know we are down 3 officers right now, and we need to find a way to get more feet on the ground, more patrols. And I think having that, and also having more community members watch over each other. Yesterday, I was sitting at the table and my next door neighbor fell down out of the back of his truck, split open the back of his head. And I was like, whoa. So I jumped up and ran over and helped him. And I think as a community, that's what we need to be watching out for each other as well. Because until we get a better grip on crime, it's going to continue to happen. So hiring more law enforcement officers and getting them better paid, better trained, and more staffed out would be my main focus.
So yeah, as Jason said, it's the more boots on the ground. Be a good neighbor. You don't have to be a great neighbor, but if you see something you don't like or doesn't look right, that's your neighborhood. Call. They should send somebody up, or be a good witness, because license plates, what they look like, what they're wearing, that's going to help the police do their job. And after being one for a while, every little detail makes a big difference on clearing a case or finding the suspect that did the do.
First off, everybody vote yes on Proposition 36. Because that's a proposition that's going to give our police and our cities more teeth to do things. Because if you're not familiar with that proposition, what that does, things that what used to be felonies, they made, I think it was Proposition 47, they made into a misdemeanor. Now with Proposition 36, it's not perfect, but it's a good beginning. So people that were doing thefts, I go into Ace Hardware, every time I go in there, they've had someone steal something from them, because nothing happens to them. They just get a slap on the wrist, probably get a ticket like a parking ticket. They're out before the police officer has even done the report, even if they do a report, because it's a misdemeanor. You can steal up to, I think it's under $950, and it's a misdemeanor. So when you get your ballot, be sure that you vote yes on Proposition 36. That will really help our cities. And I agree with everyone here that we all need to be good neighbors, watch out for each other. And I think that if we can get that situation on the Hill taken care of, with a lot of people that are homeless, and a lot of them have psychiatric problems, a lot of them have drug abuse problems, I think we need to look at the drugs in our community, because I think that's driving a lot of our crime and the theft and problems that we're having. So hopefully that will, with Proposition 36, will be the beginning, and we can go from there.
I echo what everybody's saying up here. I think we're all on the same page with this. Definitely more officers would be good. And it comes with that question, I'm sure, is where do you get the money to pay for officers? That's always a thing, because officers are not cheap. There is all sorts of grants that we could look at for funding, especially for small communities. There's grants for a lot of the issues we do have, but police, there's one thing. I think the casino helped us with the last couple we got. We have a college in our own backyard that has a police academy that's graduating. So we have our own resource center right there that we can grab people from. I think it's partially all of that, and it's the community working together and coming closer together. And that comes back to being out together and being in activities together to learn to trust more, to help watch out for one another. So until we get those bodies we can put out there for extra patrols and whatnot, we have people working together to help, like Tim said, be good witnesses. But at this point, I would say, yes, we definitely need more. And there is funding options out there that will not hamper the city. And we definitely need to look into that. Thank you.
Tim, this is our last question. What action would you take to assure voters the money for the fire department, if passed, would only be used for the department, no other use?
Give me a fathom minute. So that's what the council's job is to make sure that when you pass an initiative that is dedicated for this task only, that it is this task only. And if you see that it's going to deviate from the lesson plan, then you need to speak up and let the public know. Because tax initiatives, they can be given and they can be taken away by the people. So don't start a fire if you're not going to have a department to put it out.
The money, if it passes, is designated to go into into a regular fund, the general fund. People sitting on the city council at that time can be safeguarded and look at the budget every time it comes out and look and see where money's being spent. But the problem is that you may not always be on the city council and you don't know what the next city council is going to do. So as constituents, as safeguard of your money, because that's your money, that you need to get involved and go to city council meetings, look at the agenda, see what's on the agenda, and question when something comes up. If someone wants to say, for instance, and this is not going to be popular, if someone wants to build a swimming pool and the fire department and the police have not been giving that funds, you've got to be the watchdog, not just the city council. In fact, you're there to watch the city council. You have hired us, and then you need to keep us accountable. So you need to get involved, come to the city council meetings and ask to see the budget and question things and never be afraid to speak up. And that's one of the things I'd like to see happen, is that people feel more comfortable coming to the city council meeting, more comfortable speaking up, that the city council will make people feel more invited, because it's scary if you've never done anything at a city council. You don't always know the rules. A lot of people are really afraid to get on a microphone because that's what you have to do when you go there. So I'm hoping that the city council and the mayor will make people feel more welcome. And again, you're the watchdog. You have to watch that if it goes into the general fund.
I know that there's been stuff in the past that has caused wrinkled eyebrows concerning specifically the fire hall and stuff in the past. And my objective and goal, what if I was on there, was, definitely the transparency is important for everyone to see exactly. And tax is a really nasty 3-letter word, and I get that. I have a whole family. I have 3 kids, and one's a teenage boy, and he eats everything. So tax is not good for anybody. So it hits hard, and it's important to know if you end up having to pay a tax for a very important purpose, mind you, do you need to know where it's going so you feel safe? And it allows you to have the confidence in your council also. And that's how you gain the trust again, is by seeing, hey, this is exactly where it's going. This is what we're doing to it. It makes the community go, okay, that makes me feel better. And then it gets everybody working together to improve things, not just the fire hall, but things in general.
Thanks for making me follow that. So I think that transparency with the budget is critical, and I'm with James. I'm not a big fan of taxes, but I do think that this 1% tax is a valuable opportunity for the city to get a full-time staffed fire department, and I think we need to take advantage of that. However, that money does need to be designated and earmarked specifically for the fire department and the fire station, and not just thrown in the general fund and be allowed to be used willy-nilly.
Thank you. I wanted to leave you with a quote. No dream is too big. No challenge is too great. Nothing we want for our future is beyond our reach. And that's by Donald Trump.
I hate this thing.
It's on. It was on.
It doesn't like me. I'm gonna try it again. Hello? Oh, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what the hell, I guess it just doesn't like me. First off, thank you. Thank everybody that showed up tonight that want to run for office and putting themselves out here and asking some questions. These questions were all by you. There was 1 or 2 in there I added, but
I think everybody gave a good speech. They talked about what they want to do. They're dedicated, and I think we should applaud them and let them know that we appreciate what they're doing. So please give them a big applause. And what I want to leave you with is, it's almost election time. The reason we're here is because of that flag. The reason we vote is because of that flag. And the millions of people that have served under that flag, vote for them. It's very important. Tell your friends, tell your family, even the ones you don't like. Everybody has them, I do. I can give their names or you can write it down. So if you come across them, you can say, I heard about you. But it's very important to vote. I don't care who you are, what color you are, what race you are, religion, I could care less. I was raised in a family where we sat down at dinner at night and we talked. We argued. But that's where we left it, at the table. We argued there, and that's what I do, and I carry that on. Right here in this town, in this county, there's a gentleman named Matthew Hillard. He's on the Democratic side. I consider him a friend. We go back and forth on Facebook. We have a good time. But we care about each other. We can talk to each other, and it's important because some things we are far apart on, but some things, like some of the propositions coming up, and even some of the people that are running for office, we agree on, and that's important. So please tell your friends, get on Facebook, tell them to vote, read your pamphlet that comes out. It's going to have all these gentlemen and women in there, and they're going to have their statement. This is a big election coming up. Not only at, like I said in the beginning, at the national level, but at the local level. Look who's running for school board. Raise your hand. Where's the women running for school board? Right there, yeah. The 3 people. There's 3 positions. I think that's great. I want to say Jesse. I want to thank Tanessa. Now, Tanessa would cover this area. Jesse, he would help cover the county. Tanessa and Jesse and everybody here, if you want to talk to them, just go back in the back here. That's why they hung around, so they can talk to you, the voter. It's important. And ask them a question, even if you don't like them. Jesse is kind of, But anyway, thank you for coming. I hope we can do this again. Oh, that's right. There is cookies and coffee back there. So as you go out, talk to them and have a cookie, get a sugar overload, and have some coffee with it. Thank you again.